So let's get starting. Why blogging still matters. We talked last time about how it has been said often that blogging is dead, and that it actually numbers-wise is not true. Blogging has continued to increase year after year. It has, though, become more focused, and so this was the episode. This is what we did last week, how to get yours started. We talked about how it has increased. It has gotten more specific. People are honing in more and more on their details. The library does put up the past episodes, and so you can go on YouTube. Mammon Family Library has a YouTube channel, which is super cool. And all of these things that they are teaching at the library are available online to watch. So if you want to go back and watch portions of that for some of the material that is on YouTube. So today we're going to talk about the hidden benefits of blogging. I have blogged for many years. I have blogged very intermittently, sometimes more committed, sometimes less committed, but the idea of keep going with it has allowed a lot of benefits, a lot of things that I've learned, a lot of things that I have done that I would not have otherwise. My name is Susan Macias. I've blogged over 10 years. I have had several blogs, and I have enjoyed the process and have learned a lot, not only about doing it, but have learned about myself. So my blogging history, talked about this last time, but I started with a simple blog. It was what I could do at the time. And that is the greatest road to success, is to do what you can. Not waiting till you can do it perfectly, but do the little bit you can and keep doing that. And then you can iterate, you can make it better, you can improve. But as long as you're doing what you can, you're making progress. Now I have a website that I use, Squarespace, which is one of the things we talked about last time. And I am able to do a lot more than just blog, because now I have other pages on there. But the reality is, when I started, it was a simple blog. It was just the writing. Now I have different places on my website, one for the blog, one for the podcast. I have a page that says I speak and how to contact me for that. I have a page that shows my books and how to purchase those. So when you start with having a website that you can add to, you don't have to have 6 pages to begin with. But you can start with what you're doing and then grow it a step at a time. But I think there's incredible benefits to blogging. There are benefits for others, because our world needs positive voices and hopeful messages. And where they're getting a lot of messages, if everybody else is using the medium to put out words, let's add beautiful words, truth, goodness, and beauty into the words that are filling the world. We have that opportunity, because nobody's going to tell us what we can and can't write. And our words, our stories, our articles, our opinions, they help other people. We've all experienced things that at this point we could give advice back. This is what I've learned. And that is all it really is saying. But besides what we do that would benefit others, what I really want to focus on this evening is, how does it benefit us? Because there's 2 whys. There's the why, and that the words matter and that we want to get them out to other people. And there's the why, that actually it's very beneficial. So the first thing is, you can speak about what you care about. What do you care about? There's no gatekeeper, there's no publisher that says, no, we don't want that topic. You just get to write what you care about. This is an example of some of the blogs I've done. When we got into quarantine and everybody was just, I can't believe I can't go anywhere. What am I going to do? I have always read a lot of books that address people's surviving difficult things, the indomitable human spirit. And so I had all of these books, and I did a blog post and listed, these are great books, read about these. These people went through a lot harder stuff than we did, and they survived, and that can bring encouragement. I have a book review. That's a thing you can do on blogs. You can read books. You can tell people what you think about them. I care about books, so I want to share good books with others. I always am writing blogs about homeschooling, because I want to help people who are behind me that are still doing that thing. So your blog, what are you passionate about? That's what you get to talk about. And nobody's telling you to not. You get to develop the skill. Malcolm Gladwell was the one who established the idea of the 10,000 hours. It takes 10,000 hours, according to Gladwell and his research, to become proficient at a skill. Now, this isn't just that you can do it, but you can do it really, really well. Now, there's a lot of people that have come out and said, oh, it doesn't take 10,000 hours. But in the reality is, if you're going to be excellent at it, it's going to take a real commitment. And where are we going to find the time to do the writing? I had a very hard time just doing it on my own. Blogging, I had a sense of responsibility that I said I was going to do this every week. So it made me write more. And the more I wrote, the better I got. The more I wrote, the more I discovered what were my things that I tended to do over and over that weren't great. I found those by the amount of writing that I did. It develops the skills of writing better than anything. If you go to any writing expert, they say, you got to find your voice. You write in your voice. What does that mean? It means, how do you sound? What's your rhythm? What's your cadence? What's your vocabulary? How do you come across? And I found that I wanted to figure out what grammar rules mattered and what ones was I going to ignore. Like, it's not good to ignore grammar rules because you don't feel like figuring out where the comma goes. But I tend to write with a lot of incomplete sentences, but on purpose, because I'm trying to establish a rhythm. I'm trying to create a sense of quickness or urgency. Then I'll use those incomplete sentences. But that's part now of my voice. That's part of what I'm doing as I'm writing. And I did not find my voice in the first year of blogging. I kept writing. And the more I wrote, the more in that 10,000 hours, the more I felt the flow of my own personality. If you look at paintings, you can figure out who painted it without anybody telling you if you know very much. I'm not an art expert, but I love Rembrandt. So when I see a painting it's one of his I don't know, I almost always can say that's Rembrandt because of the way the lighting is and the way the people's faces look. It has his personality. Monet has his personality in it. And so in that way is the same with our writing voice. You find your writing voice by writing. You get to share your unique message because we all have the things that we have experienced in life that we have something to say about. If every one of us in this room said, let's all have a cooking blog, they still would be different. Because what you care about cooking, why you would be motivated about it, why you say, you might say, I think in my cooking blog, I'm just going to tell you the best restaurants to go to because I'd rather not cook. Or even if we had all said, we're going to all have Italian cooking blogs, they'd still be different because we're each unique. We each are bringing different history to the page. We're each bringing different experiences, different motivations of what we want to do with our food and our table. Therefore, it's different. Blogging allows you to discover and to hone in on what that unique message is that you can share. You don't have to know pinpoint accuracy when you start. That's that idea, just start. You start, you keep writing. The more you write, the more you discover what you really want to write about, what you really don't want to write about. And that comes through that time. Because you're also going to get to experiment with styles. What do you like to write? What style do you choose? Do you like long, rambling ones? Do you like short? Do you like lists? Seth Godin had an incredibly popular blog by having very short little things. He did it daily. And it would be a paragraph or two. And it was just a point. And he would put his point up, but he did it every day. And it was on marketing. It was on how you're working a business and what you're doing creatively. And he got a huge following. So there's that approach. There's also people that come in and they want to do comedy and they want to do things that are funny and do life and do all of that. There's other ones that just want to do lots of pictures, have a very visual blog. You get to discover the style you like. You also get to work on a style for a while and go, I don't like that style, and get to change. Because one of the benefits of blogging is that you're not fenced in to just this small little place that you've got to stay. You get to try different styles. And if something doesn't work, you can go to a new one. You can test what resonates. You can say, what are those blogs that I write that people are beginning to react to? I'm going to experiment with Bethany here to make sure we can do this, but I'm going to try to go on the back end of my blog and share that on the screen next week to kind of show some of the ways we can show analytics, that we can look at how do you know which blog post is doing well, because that tells you what people are looking up. I've discovered some blog posts lately that all of a sudden people are finding that are old, that I would have never expected, but they're being read. Okay, that tells me that's a subject I could write on more. If you have things you want to kind of test the waters and see, is this worth, I want to write a book someday, what matters to people? A blog's a fantastic place to do that. You get to meet new people. I wouldn't know Karen except for the writing community. So you meet people because you work together. You also meet virtual people. I mean, they're real people, but you get to meet them virtually. I have a lot of connections now after this many years with other people that are writing, that are blogging, that are podcasting, that are doing things trying to influence online, simply because you end up bumping against each other as you're talking about similar conversations. And you meet that person, and then you meet another person. So that's a benefit of the blogging. You can build your unique brand, identity, and authority. So if you are trying to get somewhere where you eventually want to be specific about a topic, if you want to get to the place where you want to publish a book, you want to do something, a blog is a great place to establish that you have something to say about it. If you self-publish a book, but there's nothing else about you anywhere else on the web about what you think about that topic, it's a little bit harder to gain traction. It's a great place to begin saying, this is who I am and this is what I'm trying to say. You become an expert in whatever chosen area that you care about. And we have to really think about the word expert, because the word expert doesn't mean PhD. In order to be an expert, you have to know more about the subject than everybody else in the room. That's all. We were at a blogging conference of people who had hundreds of thousands of followers. I would not be speaking. I would be in the audience. I'm not a blogging expert, but I learned a lot along the way. I can come here and share with you what I've learned. So that's how it works. You talk about a subject, you talk about it some more. You talk about it some more. And that builds your established identity. There's a big thing that people talk about in this realm all the time called imposter syndrome, where you go, I mean, who am I? Who am I to say anything? I'm just an imposter. I'm just posing. I don't have it. Why would anybody want to listen to me? And it's all the doubting voices in our head that tell us that we don't have anything valuable to share. There's other people that know more. But the reality is that each one of us has had the experience we have had with the people in our circles to get to the place where we are. And what we have experienced could have be a huge help for somebody behind us who's also experiencing something similar. So blogging establishes that you are a voice to be listened to by somebody. You don't have to be listened to by a million people to say that your voice on that subject has value. If one person says to you, I read your blog about that, and that helped me so much, you have now just established the fact that you have something to say that is helpful to someone. If they share it with a friend and now that friend reads it, then all of a sudden 2 people have been ministered to by your words. And so it's that this is where the regularity comes in. This is where keep writing about the same or similar subjects or within a realm of subjects, and you become more and more of an expert. When you have a blog on a website, you have the opportunity to share your products. So I have 2 books that I've self-published. I have both of them on my blog. On my website. I shouldn't say on my blog. They're on my website. And so when you go to the website, this is the page. If you look up top, the red doesn't show. Anyway, the up top where it says books about, contact me. When you punch books, then it comes to this page. And in this page, you can go to Amazon. Yeah, buy them from Amazon, but I have a place on my website. If somebody comes and they read something and they say, I'd like to know about that. But there's other ways to have products. You don't have to self-publish a whole book. You can have a downloadable sheets of recipes or of something that they can buy for $1.50, just a PDF. And they could buy it, and then you could get a little bit of money, and most of it's going to go to PayPal or Square, but you would get something, right? But you'd be establishing yourself. You're having this home base gives you the opportunity to do things. And if you keep writing, more and more people will come, and it gives you a chance to share those things. I think this is the thing between the 10,000 hours and this one is what blogging has given me the most of. And that is learn new skills. I would never know what I know about computers and back ends of stuff if I hadn't been blogging. Now, I can't explain it to people, but I do know about HTML and about injecting code and how to connect the email server with the website and at least I've known it long enough to make it happen. If I needed to do it again, I'd probably have to get on and do a YouTube again. But every skill I've learned has added to the next skill I've learned so that I have been able to do more and more. And if I need to, I call in someone younger than me and they help me. But I really work at trying to figure things out. It's a fun way to keep my brain going and to stay current with what's going on. I've learned a lot about pictures. Now that's a thing, and we'll talk more about that next week, but with pictures, you can't just go grab whatever picture you want off the web. You have to find the places for free pictures, and there are places for that, and you can find them and you can add them to your blog. This is a free picture that I found online, and I just downloaded it, and I can use it in my slideshow. But you have to be careful about those things. I've just learned a ton of things, and that has given me a lot of other skills to apply other places. I like to just think of it like going to school. It is a thing I do both to deliver a message, and I keep doing it because it keeps me practicing on writing. It keeps me learning new things. It keeps me meeting new people. It's like it's going on both sides of what I'm learning. These are some helpful websites, and I'll kind of talk about each one a little bit, and then just trying to think of a way I can share them. We'll figure out a way to share them if you don't get these all down. And I will tell you the names of the people, because usually if you just Google the name of the person, then it's easier to find. Jonathan Milligan, it's jonathanmilligan.com. And he does a lot on blogging, Blogging Your Passion. In fact, you're the first one that told me about the Blogging Your Passion podcast. Blogging Your Passion is what he talked about for a long time. Now it's under his name. But he has a lot of information on blogging. Now he goes into how you can eventually make money on blogging. I've never even attempted to do that, but you can. But he has a lot of great back-end information on what you can do to make your blog more successful, and in that idea, more accessible, more findable. Because like we said, there's more blogs every year. How are people going to find your blog? So he helps with that. I have found him to be a great resource. He does a lot of stuff on Facebook, does Facebook Lives, where he'll go through and he's just very generous attitude in his information. So that's a great place to get more information. LaShonda Brown, she is LaShondaBrown.com, and she has also has YouTube things, has her website. She does a lot on, and I really like her because she does on Squarespace. She's very helpful with that. She's helpful in just tying together different services that can be used. And I use Canva, which I'll talk about next week. It's an online site that you can use for free to make graphics for your blog. She does a lot of training on that. So she has paid things, but she's very generous with her free information. Bloggingbistro.com, highly recommend this. Her name is Laura Christensen. She has a podcast that is, I'm going to fumble over it. If you look up Laura Christensen, you should be able to, I think it's the Professional Writer Podcast. But her Blogging Bistro has a ton, once again, of free blogging information, of website information, of how to do. Yes, ma'am. Christen. Blogging Bistro.
S-E-N or S-O-N?
S-E-N.
So E-N and E-N.
Okay, okay, tell me again. What are you saying?
So E-N and E-N. Christian Sen. S-E-N-V-N.
Okay, no, Christiansen. So
I-A-N, okay.
yes, okay, so that question was about who did bloggingbistro.com,
right.
And her was Laura Christensen, Christiansen. And then she also is findable on, she has a Facebook group and she has a Facebook page. Also very generous. Neil Patel is done a lot of, here's what I'd say about Neil Patel. He's a lot of great information, but it can get really deep. So if you stay in the shallows with Neil Patel, he's very helpful. If you want to go deep, he also has helpful information for that, but you don't have to use all he has in order to find what he has helpful. He has a beginning kind of section, and in that section is what I have found to be helpful. And then we have doanewthing.com. Her name is Christa, C-H-R-I-S-T-A, Hutchins, H-U-T-C-H-I-N-S. Now, she is not so much doing blogging help. Christa is a chemical engineer. She's done project management for major corporations for her whole working career. Now, her side gig is helping Christian women who want to get out. Well, it's not just Christian women, but she is doing it from a motivation as a believer. She wants to help women get project management skills to make things happen, so that we all have our ideas and we know what we want to do, and it's just all these big clouds floating around the room, and we don't quite know how to make something practical occur out of our ideas. And so she is all about the practical project management systems to make the things actually happen. And for me, who I enjoy the writing part, I needed the help with the getting from A to B to C to D help. And I found her very helpful. Next week, we're going to do tips, tricks, resources for a successful blog. In that one, I'm going to try to get on the back end of my blog, kind of actually show some things. We're going to talk about the dreaded word, which is SEO, which is search engine optimization, of how people find your blog. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. It's sort of like the Holy Grail. And I will explain what I know, which won't take all too long, but I will do my best. Have learned some great things this year. And so I will be sharing that with you.